I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Cryptid Podcast tonight. I'm your host, Daniel. And tonight, you guys, we got a pretty cool guest tonight. But before we get into who this cool guest is, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So if anybody out there has had any kind of encounter, any kind of experience, you can't put your mind, right with it, not sure what's going on, then please feel free to email me at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Again, that's thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. And you know what? Let's get right on into the show. Corey, welcome to the show. How's it going, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So you reached out to me. I think you maybe saw one of my posts on a group on Facebook, and you just randomly reached out to me and said, hey, I got this thing going on. This is what I've encountered. Would you be interested in having me on your show? Absolutely. That's the right question. And yes is the right answer. So you are what I think you and I talked earlier. You're about 24, 25,
26.
26. Okay. So you're still a youngin'. I remember when I was 26, but so how long have you been doing your research, your investigation?
I probably started late 2015, 2016. I met the Ohio Night Stalkers, which I met them, and I've been going out with them since I've been out in the field, and I'm still with them, but I'm just venturing on out to do other things, but staying with them at the same time.
Okay, cool. So you've actually, and what was the name of that group again?
Ohio Night Stalkers.
Hunter Night Stalkers?
Ohio Night Stalkers.
Oh, Ohio Night Stalkers. Okay, cool. So with that name, I assume you're in Ohio.
Yep. Yes, we are.
Okay. Perfect. So let me ask you this. So you said you started in 2015, so I'd make you about 16 years old, something like that, around there. So that's when you kind of got interested. Now, why did you get interested in Bigfoot of all things? You're 16 years old, and when I was 16 years old, I had experiences with Bigfoot in the past, but at 16, cars, money, and girls were on my mind. So why Bigfoot at 16?
Well, I was never good at securing girls. I was always quiet. No. So everyone knows that it's in the Bigfoot knows the Patterson-Gimlin film in Bluff Creek from 1967. I seen that, and I got hooked onto it since I've seen that, and I watched that thing continuously. But really, what made me want to start going out is I started watching shows like Finding Bigfoot on them, and I saw what they was doing, and I was like. And I really loved when I was in school. I was like, I want to do that one day. Like, even if it's just in my area, not traveling, I want to be out Bigfooting and see if I can if I can help, see if we can solve the mystery.
Nice. Well, hey, man. I mean, so just seeing the Patterson-Gimlin film, kind of lit that fire, and it really got you started. Now look at you now. 10 years later, here you go, man. I mean, you're out. You're part of the the Ohio Night Stalkers. Sorry, Ohio Night Stalkers. Sorry about that, guys. And and you're actually going out boots on the ground. I mean, you're legit going out there and spending significant amount of time out in certain areas, and just to respect the people's property or the area of your investigation. I'm just going to ask, try not to say the name. I know you want to be very protective because you don't want any outside interference on any investigations or anything like that. So, I didn't ask you where they are before, and I won't ask you again. So just want to let you know, I'm going to be very respectful of that and where you also go and investigate. So when was the first time you went out on investigation?
So in 2015, or in that time, 2015, 2016, they had a birthday bash for Mike Feltner, which is one of the founders, and Mike Miller are the two founders of it. And I found Mike on social media, and he saw that I was around the area, and he met me and said I was into Bigfoot and stuff, and he wanted to take me out. So he had a birthday bash for because he wanted to do a Bigfoot party for his birthday party. So we had a bunch of people there that was there, and that was my first night with them. I've
And
tried. I've gone to do the library lectures with them.
well, let me ask you. So that first investigation, how eventful was that investigation?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Like here I am at 16, 15 years old, and I'm sitting there like I'm out in the woods at night when I know it's summertime, but I should be in playing a video game or something and all
Right.
that. But then here I am here again. Like we're getting activity again. So we split up that night. So I went with Feltner, which we went to a different area when other people was at another area. So we split up a little bit. And man, we had some good friends there with us, and man, we had rocks thrown at us.
Wow.
We had all the activity, and it was like, here I am. You think I'd be scared going out there, but here I'm living it.
Right. No, for sure. So let me ask you this: did you get your parents' permission to go and hang out in the woods with a bunch of older
Oh,
people?
absolutely, absolutely.
What'd your
My mom
parents
had
think?
it. They met my mom, and mom met them. They said it was all right.
Cool. But what does your mom think? Here's her 16-year-old son. Hey, mom, I want to go out to the woods and hang out with these group of people, because we're looking for Bigfoot. And like you said, it's a Friday night. You should be during the summer or whatnot, and normally you should be playing a video game.
Yeah.
So what was her thought? Even today, what is her thought on her son going out, researching, going to conferences, going to lectures and things like that? What is her thought on this?
Well, she's not really. She doesn't really believe in it. She doesn't deny, but she doesn't like. But she's very supportive of it. She listens to everything I tell her and stuff, and as long as I'm not, she's okay as long as I'm not out breaking the law.
Right.
And as long as I'm happy, she's happy.
There you go. That's the perfect answer from a parent. Even though deep down we're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so worried. Where are they at? Should I go follow them?" I'm a protective dad. I got 3 kids. I got 3 grandkids. So
Yeah.
trust me. Right answer to your mom. Fantastic. So let's get into the meat of this interview. Let's talk about your first encounter, whether it be a sighting or, you know, you were out investigating, you heard howls, you heard tree knocks. What was your very first encounter that you can say, I know that this is what we're out here looking for?
My very first encounter was probably when it was probably 2018, 19, other times there, but really in 2019, like 2018 through 2020 is when we started getting like we started really getting activity because we found them again. Because when you lose them, you gotta find them, and they're hard to find once you lose them. And we found them, and 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 when we always had those like small things like the wood knocks we've heard and the small movements and stuff, but we didn't really get into like with the rock throws and stuff. You'll show that later on. We didn't really start having that activity until at least with me until like 2020. It was I can remember where we had a big time. When I remember it finally because I was how it was,
Mhm.
and what happened is that I'm kind of blank here. And what happens and so
It's all right. Take your time, brother.
so I'm trying to think. So when we're out there, and when we're out there, we're quiet. We're sitting by our car. We're sitting by. We're like we sit. We park our cars facing outwards just in case we have to go, in case emergency.
Right.
And really, the only lights we use is a red light. We don't use the bright lights unless it's emergency.
Mhm.
So we sit in the middle between car behind us and the car in front of us facing that way. And what happens is and where we're at is like we want to pitch dark. We get our camp chairs. We want to pitch dark. We don't talk often. We'll talk quietly and stuff. And sometimes when we talk like just talk quietly is when they get intrigued and they start coming up and actually investigating what we're doing.
Mhm.
But those times with nights where we'll split, like we used to split up, like one stay back there and we'll go up a trail somewhere. And man, we've had some unbelievable stuff happen when we split up. They do not like that.
Okay, so what kind of stuff happens?
Like we will have like a lot of times we'll have like something parallel on us. Like when we walk, it'll walk, and when we stop, it'll stop. And it'll just sit and they'll be like it seems like they'll have one back where the other group's at and where other groups out investigating both sides. And they don't like the splitting up because they don't know what we're doing.
Right. So would you say So with these encounters, have you ever like seen one or believe you've seen one?
Actually, I think last October, I think I seen my very first one that I can actually say I seen. It was October. I think it was the 14th through 13th through 14th, something like that. And we was there to celebrate the little still for when that group that we celebrating there. And when I have a call blaster that I had that does like game calls and stuff, and
Mhm.
has like animal calls, deer distress. And I went to go fix it because I had a we had a because it has a sleep mode on it. I don't know how to turn it off, and it'll go to sleep after a while. And I
Right.
turned it back on, and I came back, and the moon, like it's not bright, but it's perfectly spotted where down this gravel road in this area we're at, where I seen this black silhouette kind of thing hunch over walking, and it was probably, I would say probably about 8 foot, so it wasn't a very tall one, and it was this all black uniform, and you can see how when it walked across the gravel, you see how smooth the head, how when a person walks, your head bobbles a little bit, but
Yeah.
when they walk, a lot of times they go smooth, they just glide, and you can,
Right.
and it was like, and it just smoothly crossed the path, and I don't think it knew that I seen it because it was in the pitch black, and I don't think it seen us because it was paying attention to where it was going, and it was just so it was so smooth, it was so smoothly walked, it was like crazy, like in a matter of 2 to 3 steps, it was gone, and you didn't even really hear a sound of it.
So you saw. So let me kind of paint this picture and correct me if I'm wrong. So you're looking down this gravel road,
Yeah.
and it's absolutely nighttime. There's a moon out, but it's not super bright moon. But where this is positioned, it kind of illuminates the road a little bit. And you're looking down this road when you see this thing pretty much glide across almost, because I've heard many times where when they see this movement of this creature, it's very fluid. It
Mm-hmm.
almost as it some people say almost like on a moving like sidewalk, when you go in an airport and it's like a moving, like it's
Yeah.
like almost moves across and it's so quick and so fluid. So that's what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
you
so.
Okay, so yeah, but it was at a distance, so you didn't really get a good view, but you definitely saw
Yeah,
something move across.
I seen the form of it, and when the moon was on, I could see how it was, and it was like hunched over, and you had the little arm swing that they're known to have.
Oh man, that's awesome. About how far away were you from that?
Uh, I would say I was probably 30 yards.
Oh, really? That's pretty. I'm gonna tell you right now, man. You may not think that he saw you, but trust me, he saw you guys. He knew you guys were there. Trust me.
Yeah.
So, so you sent me a piece of audio. Well, you sent me two pieces, and one, unfortunately, I'm not gonna play.
Yeah.
Because someone has some potty mouth in there. But hey, I'm guilty of that as well.
Yep.
But just in this, you never know who's going to watch, and last thing I want to do is offend anybody.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and play this audio, and when I'm done playing this audio, kind of describe what is going on, like where you were at, who you were with, and exactly what's going on. Now, when you guys hear this audio, it's actually Cody making this howl, this yell. This is Cody making this yell. Wait till you find out or hear what happens after he makes this yell. Wow. Okay. I jumped a little bit, and that's like the third time I've listened to that, but I jumped a little bit because I'm listening so intently as to I want to hear everything that's going on. Great howl, by the way. So tell us what happened. Like, kind of, where were you at? Who were you with? You don't have to give the exact location, but I assume you're in Ohio.
Yep.
And who were you with? And what happened after you did that howl?
I was with the Ohio Night Stalkers. I was with them. Then it was Mike and Mike. Bev and Mac, which is the other partners of the group, to the older couple, and when that rock hit that. I'm going a little forward, but when that rock hits that, it hits Mac's car, little car, I think it's a truck it was, that he has he takes with us. But I went to go do my house because it was kind of a quiet kind of night. It wasn't nothing really crazy was happening. It was and it seems with my house, it seems like I go deeper, so I can sometimes get them to do it, but they have to want the how. And I guess when I did that how, because I walked up to a little wood line, like little open spot. If my mind corrects me, because 18 or 19, when my mind corrects me, if my mind is correct, there was a big field where I did this how I would an open field where I would travel, and that thing must have been there the whole time, just sitting back laying low until I did how I did, and then next thing you know, it threw a rock at the car that hit the top. I think it was the top of his car and bounced off. And you can hear Miller saying, "Sit down and calm down," and all that, and that rock. And if you listen, you can hear him say it. But like this night, it was probably about 2 a.m. I would say, probably, and maybe a little later. And it was a chilly night, if I remember correctly. It was a fall night, and the air was very thin. So I think that Sasquatch was right there, that was watching us the whole time, wasn't doing anything until I did that and stirred him up and didn't like it.
So he chucked a rock. Now let me ask you. So again, let me paint a picture. So I assume you guys parked your vehicles the same way, both facing out towards the road. So if you guys got escorted out or chased out, it's no problem jumping in and just going.
Yeah.
And as you said, you guys normally sit between the vehicles.
Yeah.
And I would assume for an added protection. So where did this rock come from? So if you walk straight out, you're walking towards the road. Did you walk to the left to this area where you did your howl, or to the right?
I think I went to the back left a little bit.
Okay.
The back left, and I think it came from like straight behind the car, but maybe to the right of it a little bit, from it's a little hill, but it's not like the crazy hill, but it's a little it goes up, and that's where I think it came from.
So in a way, if I'm understanding how you describe it, this rock came from behind and to the right of you guys.
If I can remember that correctly,
So you walk off to the left a little bit to do your howl out to the left.
Yeah.
And this big guy is out behind you to the right. And he's like, "Oh, okay, you want to play games? I got something for you. Here's a rock."
Yeah.
Man, I love encounters like this because you may not see it, but you can hear them. You have that interaction with them. And to me, that's a Class B encounter. To me, Class B encounters can be almost, if not more terrifying than a sighting, than a Class A. So
yeah,
go ahead.
When those rocks come, man, and they come out of nowhere a lot of times, they startle you. That's why that center you hear us cuss, because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that you react that way because you don't expect it. And when it comes, it's like, oh my God.
Right. And you and I talked before, you've gone out plenty of times, I'm assume maybe by yourself a couple times, or with just a small group, or even with this bigger group. And you guys have come up with nothing. Like,
yeah,
like you said, they have to want to interact or engage you. They have to.
I would never go out by myself. I always stay with my group and with those guys because it's safe. It's not because if you're by yourself, you're gonna be on higher load and you're gonna think everything in the woods is a Bigfoot.
Right.
And you gotta worry, because it's not just Bigfoot you gotta worry about. You gotta worry about other animals, and being there by yourself is not it. And being in the woods by yourself can get scary.
Oh yeah. So let me ask you. So through all your encounters or all your investigations, have you ever had something that really, really unnerved you to the point where, like, you guys, we just need to go. We've overstayed our welcome. We need to go. Has there ever been a time like that you've encountered?
Yeah, I did. 2020. In 2020, I had this infrasound thing, like like tigers can do to paralyze their thing. I think Bigfoots can do that, and it happened to me. And I'm sitting where we're sitting at. This is in a location, another location where we're back off the woods and stuff, and I seen the red eye shine. But when I'm sitting on the when I'm sitting at our camp chairs where we're sitting in a circle and stuff, because we have people will go face this, someone face that way, and all 360 so we can see.
Mhm.
And you know, I just had that feel like feel like the walls were kind of coming in a little bit, and I felt like I was stuck. And if and I felt like it was just like right there on me. Eventually, it faded away after about at least 10, 20, 15 minutes, and when it faded away. But I think that was the night. I think that was night, and it didn't want to stay much longer. And we think that spot is close to the breeding area where they was having the kids at, was kids were at. That was
Mhm.
the area for where they was training them and stuff. That's why we think they were so aggressive there sometimes.
Now, where's the farthest you've traveled to do an investigation?
Probably. I was probably Georgia. 'Cause me and you know, if you ever been to Georgia, there's a Cherry Lawn. In Cherry Lawn, there's a exhibition in Bigfoot Museum.
Mhm.
Ohio Night Stalkers spoke there, and we actually went out with him in Georgia. So that's probably the only time that really the farthest I've gone so far.
So did you well on that investigation, did you guys hear anything, see anything?
Uh, we had a few things, nothing like crazy, because it was still kind of cold there. It wasn't The season was just now changing a little bit. It was just now getting kind of. It was still cold, and you know, Georgia, and it's cold. It gets cold in Georgia where that's at, and yeah, but we had some things happen, but nothing like too crazy. I know I was walking with my flare on, my eyes almost fell down a hill.
Well, see, I've used night vision before. Yeah, you have to be careful,
Yeah,
or you're gonna fall flat on your face and hurt yourself. Now, let me ask you this: you mentioned eye shine. You saw eye shine.
I have.
Have you found any tracks or other physical evidence of them being in an area that you had just been to, or you're just going to a new area and you find evidence that they were there?
Yeah, we found tracks on a few occasions. I have a picture of one. I should have sent you one so you can see them. I have to send you it once we get out of here. But
Okay.
it was about, you'll see it about like, it was probably about 13 inches. I didn't have casting material at that time, because silly me.
Yeah.
It was raining that day, so now I got a thing of plaster. I get a bag, like USB bag, and I put a plaster in it. So if I see something, I'm just casting it. It was rainy. It was I think it was beginning of fall, maybe beginning, and it was still cold. It was getting cold, or it was before spring, and we wasn't expecting to even. It was raining that day, so we wasn't expecting to find a track, and we found one really good at tracking and a few impressions of the other ones. The other impressions are on tall grass, so you can't really see, but the one you will see, it was so it will it was you will see that you can see the toes in it.
Right. Nice. See, I've seen a lot of tracks, and mostly pictures and everything. I personally have not come across a track, and trust me, when I had my sighting, I went out all the time in that area and I looked for tracks. I mean, I thought I saw maybe something, but you know, I'm 12 years old. What do I know? It could have
Yeah.
been anything. Because I know in the area that I lived in, we had porcupines, there were bear, coyotes.
Yep.
There's actually a pack of wild dogs that lived in the area. So we had to be careful because of those darn things. There were bobcats out there. So there was a number of animals out there. And again, I know the difference between a human looking foot versus a bear versus a coyote, a porcupine, a raccoon, whatnot. I get that. But that's what, I would primarily see. Again, there's a couple things, maybe that is, but I'm not sure. But, what is one of the most special moments that you've had while doing this? Like, what is the one thing or a couple things that just really stick out? You're like, man, I still can't believe that happened to me.
This activity that we've gotten fortunate with that. And 2020 was a good year. I've met I've met like Cliff from Finding Bigfoot. I met him. I love he's my favorite sponsor. But and just meeting people that like the same things, and just going out. When we go out with my group, we go out to have a good time. We don't get nothing. We still have a good time. And you can't. If you go do Bigfooting and you make it a job, that means, and you start thinking of making a job, that means that it ruins it's made for fun. And some people just get so into like they want to do this and like money and stuff, and it's like just go out and do it. Don't have to do all this fancy stuff and all that. Enjoy something.
Well, I mean, you look at Ron Moorhead. Ron Moorhead went out with a tape recorder and captured some of the absolute most amazing vocalizations. You know, even to this day, they are like the foundation of this community when it comes to evidence. So it doesn't matter what you use. You know, I know a buddy of mine. He uses an old iPhone that he puts on his back when he's walking, and that's a method he picked up from Scott Carpenter.
That's a good idea too.
Yeah. So, well, is there anything else that you have that you'd like to discuss?
You want to ask more questions, or what do you want to do?
Well, I mean, I think I've asked a plenty of questions on your counter stuff, but why don't you talk about the Ohio Night Stalkers? Like, are they still active? Do they still go out and?
Yeah, they're still active. They are still active. They just wrapped up their library lectures for the year.
So they do library lectures.
Yeah, they'll be doing the off seasons. They'll be doing the off season and all that. I think the other one's going to take some time off. And Feltner's going to take some time off. He said because he's done it for a while. But I think the other one, the other ones are still going to stay and we're still going to do our stuff and keep it going. But like I said, we're still together. We're still going.
So how many members are in this Night Stalker group, Ohio Night Stalkers?
It varies. A lot of times it's the two founders, the two old couples, Bevan Mack and me and a few other people.
Okay.
So sometimes it's just a small time minute.
Right. So you told me earlier that you've actually, you're still with the Ohio Night Stalkers, but you've kind of gone out and started doing your own thing.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, basically what I'm going to do, like I'm still like a lot of times I'm out with them. When I'm out, it's going to be with them, but I'll be hiking. I'll probably be out around my area close to my home where we've had some luck out. I will share like pictures and stuff. I would send I would send stuff like if I hear something I'll send it, but I don't sometimes I just we won't send it unless we want to see you to hear it and stuff. Right. But basically backyard's Bigfoot. My backyard's literally Bigfoot area.
Right.
I just gotta walk over there. No, I like to hike, so I'm an outdoors guy, so I like to hike. I like to fish.
Nice. Well, man, be careful when you're out there, because you know the stories about fishermen. For some reason, they love messing with people fishing. Whether they're out in a boat, they're wading in a creek, or they're sitting on the bank of a river or a pond or a lake, they love to mess with fishermen. So just be careful out there.
Oh yeah, I'm always careful.
So, hey, Corey, I just want to say thank you. I want to be very respectful of your time. I want to say thank you so much for reaching out to me, provide me with that audio. The audio was amazing.
Yeah.
And coming on my show, man, just being open and just letting people know, in Ohio, Bigfoot has a big
fields.
Exactly. It's not just cornfields.
Those woods, man.
Exactly. I know.
Where we go, man, it was like where we go. I won't tell the area, but man, it was like it's almost like you're in Tennessee for how it looks.
Yeah, well, like I told you earlier, I lived in West Virginia, right across the river from Ohio, and I know Ohio is a lot more than just cornfields and industry. I know that. So,
yeah.
So everybody, thank you so much for Corey jumping on and just sharing his knowledge and his experiences with us. And like I said earlier, if you guys have had an encounter and you'd like to share it, feel free to go ahead and shoot me an email at the cryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Corey, you got any last words?
Nope. This was fun.
All right, man. Well,
time for me. So,
hey, I'm glad you had fun, man. Again, that's what we're here for. A safe environment, safe community.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want you to have fun, man. All right?
Yep.
All right. Till next time, everybody. Thanks for joining the show. And I'll see you on the flip side. And remember, a legend always starts with a sighting. Have a good night.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?